Hey Tripp, this is our review video for the lesson this past Tuesday. I apologize, it's taken me a couple of days to get this to you. But this past week we focused primarily on a new technique for playing the guitar that isn't strumming, but it's finger picking. And on your sheet I attempted to draw a little diagram for what it would look like for a C chord. And the pattern, now I know I'm using my wolf pack fingers, my thumb and my 2 and 3 fingers, and I know that you're using your thumb and your 1 and 2 fingers. So I'm going to attempt to play it with your method instead of mine so you can see what I'm doing here. So you see my left hand is just in a C shape. And the strings that we're going to be playing are really, we're only going to be involving 4 strings, the middle 4 strings. So strings 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the pattern begins by plucking the outside of those outside strings, strings 2 and 5, with your 1 and your 3, or with your thumb, sorry, and your middle finger. So your thumb and your number 2 finger is how it works. So we pluck those 2 strings, and then we pluck the middle strings individually with our thumb and index finger, and then the outside strings again with our thumb and middle finger, and then the inside again, thumb and index. So put that all together, it's outside strings, inside, outside, inside, and then it just starts over. So outside strings together. It always starts with the 2 strings played together, and then they're all separate. Outside, inside, together. Inside, outside, inside, together. And by the way, this is the dust in the wind pattern, which we talked about before. But with this pattern, if you get a little more comfortable with it, then we can sort of add some movement to this part of to this hand, and we can actually do dust in the wind, which would sound like this. Let me try that again. And then the song would actually start. Now we are going to play not just our C chord here with that pattern, but we're also going to transition to the A minor chord and do the same 4 strings, and then back to the C. The nice thing about using these 2 chords is that you've got 2 anchor fingers. Your number 1 and 2 fingers are anchor fingers. The only finger that moves is your number 3 finger. It moves from that 5th string to that 3rd string location. 5th string here on the C, and then over to the 3rd string right there. So that's going back and forth from the C chord to the A minor. Now we can, of course, go from there then to the E minor, and I would recommend, if you're playing the E minor chord, there's 2 different sets of strings that you can play that pattern with. You can use strings 2, 3, 4, and 6, or you can use strings 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the patterns would sound this way. Here's with the second grouping, the 3, 4, 5, and 6. It would sound like this. So a little deeper. And here it is with strings 2, 3, 4, and 6. And then we transition back to the C chord, to the A chord, then to the E minor chord. Play that E minor a second time. Now I'm going to transition back to the C. Now here's the A minor, and then here's the E minor. I prefer using on that E minor chord strings 2, 3, 4, and 6. which means your fingers, you're picking, you're naturally going to be omitting the 5th string. You're only going to be playing those 4 strings. So that is our lesson review. I hope that makes sense, and feel free to play along with the video. And looking forward to next week to see how you've mastered the dust in the wind finger picking pattern. We'll talk to you later.